All right, let's talk about fertility. Today, we're going to cut through all the noise, bust some of the biggest myths out there, and give you clear, straightforward answers about your reproductive health. And we're going to jump right in with the big one, probably the question I hear the most. It's this huge anxiety that so many of us have. Will being on birth control for years mess up my chances of getting pregnant later? To get to the truth, we're going to tackle that question and a bunch of others by digging into the science with insights from a fertility specialist. It's time to separate the facts from the fear. But first, let's start with a really tough situation. What do you do when you've already had a child, you're trying for another, and it's just not happening? This is such a common story, and it's known as secondary infertility. It's this incredibly frustrating feeling because you think, hey, my body's done this before, it should be easy. But, it's often not that simple. So an expert is going to tell you, look, you need to push for a complete 3-part evaluation. A past pregnancy doesn't give you a free pass. Your body's been through a lot. They need to check the uterus, make sure the fallopian tubes are open, and, this is key, get a new semen analysis. Sperm health can literally change every 3 months, so a test from a few years ago means nothing. Okay, so what if you go through all that? You do all the tests, and everything comes back normal. Well, that's when you get the diagnosis of unexplained infertility. And yeah, it's a maddening label, but all it really means is that the most common physical roadblocks have been ruled out. So this often leads us to look at other factors, like your overall metabolic health. Let's dig into how things like being overweight, or having high cholesterol, or prediabetes can play a surprisingly big role. Here's how it connects. These conditions basically put your body in a constant state of inflammation, and that inflammatory environment makes it statistically harder to get pregnant in the first place, and unfortunately, it also increases the chance of miscarriage. And just to be clear, it's not any single thing like cholesterol by itself, but the whole picture of your body's health. Now, the advice here can be really tough to hear, but it's so important. A specialist might suggest what they call a purposeful pause. That means taking a few months off from trying to conceive and instead focusing all that energy on improving your metabolic health. It's an emotional challenge for sure, but it can make a world of difference for your chances of a healthy pregnancy. Okay, so we've talked about what to do when you're already in the thick of it. Now, let's zoom back out to that massive question we started with. Does taking birth control for years actually, truly cause infertility down the line? And here it is, the big answer, backed by a ton of data. No. Flat out, no. When scientists look at people a full year after they've stopped using contraception, there's no difference in their ability to get pregnant compared to people who never used it. So let's be super clear. Long-term, birth control does not make you infertile. But, and you knew there was a but, right? That does not mean it has zero effect on your planning and your timeline. The story is way more interesting than just a simple yes or no. See, the really important question isn't if you should stop birth control, it's when you should stop it. And thinking about it strategically can be a total game changer because the timing is completely different depending on the method you're using. I mean, just look at this chart. The timelines are all over the place. If you're on the Depo-Provera shot, experts say you should stop it up to 2 years before you want to start trying. 2 years. Compare that to the pill, where it's more like 3 to 6 months. This is huge, and it's something almost no one talks about. This is such a good question, right? Because it feels like it doesn't make sense. The pill, for instance, is out of your system in about a day. So why on earth would you need to wait 3 to 6 months before trying? What are you waiting for? This quote just nails it. The number one reason is that birth control masks what's really going on with your body. That period you get on the pill, it's not a real period. It's a withdrawal bleed caused by the drop in hormones. You have no idea what your natural cycle is actually doing. So stopping early gives you this incredibly valuable gift, a window of time. It's a chance to see what your real cycle looks like. Are your periods regular? Are they super painful? It can unmask underlying issues like PCOS or endometriosis that the pill might have been hiding the symptoms of, and it gives your uterine lining time to build back up, especially after an IUD. Basically, you're gathering crucial data about your own body before you're officially trying. So after all that, what's the game plan? How do you take all this information and use it to feel in control of your reproductive future? The big takeaway here is to be proactive, not reactive. Give your body that buffer of time after stopping contraception. And think back, why did you start it in the first place? If it was for painful periods or acne, maybe that's a clue to an underlying issue that needs to be checked out now. Use that time to track your cycles, get to know your body again. That knowledge is power. Look, the whole point of this explainer is to help you move from feeling anxious to feeling empowered. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What is one thing you can do, starting today, to take ownership of your own reproductive journey?